Welcome to Sustainability Soundbites, presented by E&E Leader. DOE's latest battery grants target the electrolyte gap. A new round of federal battery materials funding and a Kentucky groundbreaking are both converging on the same overlooked choke point, electrolyte, a component where domestic cell assembly has outpaced domestic materials production. The Trump administration's Department of Energy announced $500 million in grants on October 20th for 7 domestic critical mineral and battery material projects spanning lithium extraction, cobalt refining, battery recycling, electrolyte chemicals, and silicon-based anode technology. The award is the third round under DOE's Battery Materials Processing and Battery Manufacturing and Recycling programs, which have now directed close to $2.3 billion to more than 20 projects since 2022. That the funding keeps landing on materials rather than finished cells reflects a specific vulnerability DOE's own December 2024 supply chain review identified. Chinese firms hold roughly 70 to 90% of global production capacity at several midstream choke points, including electrolyte, separator, and active anode and cathode materials, a share the U.S. Energy Information Administration separately put at 82% for electrolyte production as of 2022. A Kentucky groundbreaking illustrates the gap. Anthro Energy, a Stanford spinout, broke ground this week on the Louisville, Kentucky facility, a $42 million plant expected to produce about 12,000 metric tons of advanced polymer electrolyte annually, enough to support up to 25 gigawatt-hours of lithium-ion battery production when it enters operation in late 2027. The facility carries a $24.9 million DOE award and $18.4 million through the 48C Advanced Energy Project Tax Credit, both awarded before the current administration. Anthro says the plant will use inputs free of foreign entity of concern materials from the start. Its Proteus technology injects liquid phase precursors that solidify during normal cell formation, letting manufacturers use standard battery manufacturing equipment rather than retooling production lines, a compatibility argument aimed squarely at the cost problem facing new domestic chemistries. Assembly capacity doesn't solve a materials problem. U.S. policy has spent years measured primarily in cell manufacturing gigawatt-hours. The materials that feed those cells went largely uncounted. A battery assembled domestically can still depend on foreign-produced electrolyte, separator, graphite, and processed cathode material, and DOE's own review found domestic capacity remains more limited midstream and upstream, even as cell manufacturing capacity has scaled toward meeting 2030 demand. That gap is why the grants are spread across multiple midstream segments rather than concentrating on any single material. A diversification also visible in parallel efforts to localize cathode precursor production in Europe. Anthro has separately partnered with Indianapolis-based N-Power to scale U.S.-produced lithium-ion cells, following other electrolyte producers that have made similar bets on domestic capacity in recent years. For procurement teams and battery manufacturers, the through line across both this week's grant announcement and the Louisville groundbreaking is the same. A made-in-America battery pack is only as secure as the least domestic material inside it. Interested in a Soundbite sponsorship? Contact our team to learn more. Thank you for listening.